I'm just waiting. Okay, there we go. All right, I have Mandy on again this week, and we'll be meeting pretty frequently. And I'll post in school when we're meeting. And if anyone wants to jump on and just hang out with us and learn or ask questions about whether it's building lasting connections or the sitting month or body code, emotion code, or the brain patches. I'm posting a lot of different things right now. So if you have questions about any of those things, this would be the time to come on and just like hang out and ask questions and learn from each other. We are all learning. So I asked Mandy and I have known each other for a while now. And last week, if you saw the video with her on, she talked about building lasting connection. Is it building lasting connection or building lasting connections?
Connections.
Okay. So building lasting connections. If you didn't see that, check it out. And this week, Mandy's going to kind of ask me questions about the sitting month so that you guys can learn a little bit more about what the sitting month is, because I know some of you joined the community and you're really curious about what actually is this thing called the sitting month. So, yeah, we're just going to kind of chat about that right now.
Okay, awesome. Let's do this. Yeah, I'm excited to be back here with this Sitting Month community. I think you guys are such an awesome group of women rallying around mothers, especially those who have just had babies, because we all know that that's a tender time in life. So I'm excited to interview you, Emily, and just kind of let your community know, like, I mean, this is like you birthed another child, just to know like the backstory behind it, your vision for it, and what they'll get by being a part of your community. So let's start from the beginning. Tell us why the Sitting Month. What personally drove you to start this course and start this movement?
So I put a post on TikTok and Instagram like a week ago. And basically, I felt God tell me that I needed to share the information that I had about the sitting month. So I had done the sitting month myself, had someone cook for me, make me really specific Chinese food and teas that are really healing to the body based on traditional Chinese medicine. And I did that with my second child, third child, fourth child, and fifth child. So I have 5 kids. And after my fifth child, my neighbor saw what I was doing with recovery, and she was really curious what I was doing and started asking me questions. And by this time, my newborn was 9 months old, and my neighbor was about to have her 7th baby. So I live in a place where a lot of women have a lot of babies. And
We love
she just said to me, "What's that? Oh, you
I
love
said
it?"
we love it. We gotta
Yeah.
keep the race going, right?
Yeah, so she just was really curious, and I knew her history with postpartum was pretty bad, that she had had anxiety, but she wanted a big family, and she just muscled her way through it. She was on medications for her anxiety and things like that. And, she was just asking me the questions, and I was just like, "Yeah, that's cool, you're interested in it," but I didn't have it as a business at that time. I wasn't even thinking about doing it, like, doing the sitting month for another person, cooking for them for 28 days, or even making them teas. But I felt God say to me, "You need to do this for your friend. You need to do this for your neighbor. She needs this." And I also had another thought come into my mind after I said that, which was, if you don't share what you have, it's gonna be taken from you. So maybe that would mean someone else would do it if it wasn't me, or I don't know. But in that moment, I just, talked to God, and I was just like, "All right, okay, I'll do it." So I contacted my friend that had cooked for me. She gave me all the meals, helped me order the teas. They're ordered from a specific Chinese herb shop, actually, and they're ordered in Chinese. So then they're shipped back to me now in Chinese, and I organize them in English. So I organize these 28-day teas that you take. So, anyways, I did this for my friend. I ended up cooking for her. It was a ton of work. It was so much work. But then after I cooked for her and I saw how she was a different person after she had her baby, she was literally transformed. It was like a transformational process for her to be able to rest for it 28 days. She got help from her extended family to watch her other kids because, like I said, that was her 7th baby. So her mother came, I think her mother-in-law came at one point, and then her husband got some time off of work. So they took turns taking care of, the things, the laundry, the animals, the kids, all the other things so that she could actually rest. And by the time the 28 days were up, her husband was just so grateful to me because it was, like, just such a different experience for their whole family. And, he was just like, "Can you just keep cooking for her because she's so happy, she feels so good in her body, like, I've never seen her like this, she's glowing," all of the things, because she was resting, and also the food is the baseline of our fuel for our body. So, food as the baseline means if we're putting the right food into our body actually knows how to do all the things. Our body knows how to produce milk. Our body knows how to recover. Our body knows how to move through each transition of hormones, right? And so that's kind of like how it got started. And then after that, I just thought, all right, I have all these recipes, I have this information, I need to turn it into an online course. So that's what I've been working on for 3 years. And now it's available, people can use it and do it, and now I started the school community because I'm like, "All right, we need to have a community for postpartum moms and a community for women to be able to collaborate together and know that there's actually information out there that can make postpartum not scary, not full of depression, not full of anxiety, like, we can actually move through this experience with grace and ease." So, yeah.
I love that. I think it's so powerful, the word community you create, because you and we were pregnant with our oldest at the same time. They're exactly a week apart. So I remember after we had our boys, I was surprised at how isolating and lonely motherhood became when I had this baby. So I think community is so powerful. I love this community that you're creating of women who are like minded. Like you said, mothers, mother in laws, grandmothers who have walked that road to help supporting these new moms, or a mom who's having their seventh baby, to still support them during that sacred time. So I love this. So, talk to me about this. You mentioned about how you felt God tell you, you need to share this or it'll be taken away. Um, just talk to me about how you have seen his hand in this. And why do you think uh, his daughters knowing this information would be important?
Um, it's a really awesome question, and
We can circle
one
back.
that well, it's really important to me actually because I wouldn't have been able to create this if it hadn't have been for him or for his hand in it, guiding the steps of my life to where I was at certain stages of my life, to who I was interacting with at certain stages of my life, and what resources became available to me. So I see it in, like, every single point, and there were times when it felt really hard and really lonely and low, but he was still there. He was just like, "You just need to wait, like, the time isn't right yet. The time isn't right to keep moving forward. You need to wait a minute." Maybe I would do the sitting month for one mom and then be like, "Okay, can we launch the website now? Like, can I work on this thing?" And then it would be summer break, and my kids would be home all day, and I would have no time to work on the sitting month because I was full-time momming at that point because they weren't at school, right? So, even in those moments of pause where it needed to pause for a minute, I feel like that was part of his hand was he knew, "Okay, your actual number 1 job, even though you wanna create this business, is actually to be a mom." And then, you know, the timing of actually launching the website, actually having it go live, all of that, and now working with school, having this cool platform where we can build a community of women. There's a map even in it where women can connect with other women. It's just, the timing is really awesome. So my vision for it is that eventually, like, women in North America will be able to all know what the sitting month is and be able to get help with their postpartum recovery because it can be so transformative for them. And I think that's what God that idea I feel like was planted in my mind by God, and that was kind of his vision for it is let's make postpartum recovery okay, a good thing, that it's not scary and that it's not something that people are so afraid of, they don't even wanna have kids.
Yeah.
Those are kind of my thoughts.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great reframing and paradigm shift that you're making because I do feel like in Western culture, unfortunately, sometimes mothers are given the narrative, and I think we talked about this a little bit last week, but they're given the narrative of how fast you're back at the gym, how fast you're back up walking, back in those pre-pregnancy pants. For some reason, we feel like we get like an invisible trophy or reward for that, um, when we're really actually causing harm. And we do live in a society and a culture that's hustle, hustle, go, go, go. Um, but really, especially because I mean, you think about it, you've been growing a baby for 9 months, your body has been go, go, go for 9 months. And so it makes sense to me that it would be vital to have a resting period to refuel and to care for your baby and your vessel that grew this awesome human. So I love that. Last week, we talked about the crisis that we're having with mothers and postpartum suicide. So, talk to me, give me some key examples or specific things to where you see the sitting month can help us with that epidemic we're facing currently in the Western society.
So, like I said before, our food is our baseline, meaning like when we are at the bottom, we want to get the right food in our body so that we can move up. So, before we can take supplements, before we can do different treatments or any other resource, we want to look at what a person is eating. And what you eat affects your mental health, it impacts it a lot. And I didn't know this until I actually was living in China. So before I lived in China, I moved to China when I was 22 as a missionary. I served there as a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and while I was there, I felt like I surrendered, um, my want and need to control what I was eating. So before I was 22 and live or 21 and living in China, I was just living in the United States, eating a normal American diet, but I would struggle with depression, I would struggle with my weight, I would struggle with anxiety, but I didn't know that all of these things were related. And then as soon as I went to China, it was like I heard God say to me, or maybe your intuition is maybe what you like to call it, or whatever. But I just felt like he was saying to me, if you eat the food that I created, your body is going to be exactly how it's meant to be. And so I started focusing on eating fresh fruits and vegetables there, which there were so many. There were street markets with fresh food. I know you lived in Korea, so you might understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I was eating rice and meat and vegetables, and people would invite me over to their house for dinner, these beautiful Chinese people, and they'd ask me, "What do you wanna eat?" And they'd think I would wanna eat American food, and I would say, "I wanna eat meat and vegetables. I wanna eat your meat and vegetables. I wanna try those dishes." And when I came home from living in China, I was like, "Wow, I'm eating American again, and I feel terrible." Like, it was so bad, and I just remember praying and asking God, "Why can't Americans eat well? Like, what is going on? This is so bad." And I recognized I had to choose at that moment for me personally that I needed to go off of gluten when I got back from China. And I was like, "Maybe that's my issue." And then I focused on that for a little bit, but circling back, being in China, I was eating such clean food that did not feel any depression when I was there. I did not feel any anxiety when I was there. I wasn't taking a multivitamin, I wasn't on any supplements, and I wasn't on any drugs. It was purely because of the food that I was eating. And I just learned so much from that experience that then when I had this opportunity to do the sitting month with my friends from China, and they were offering to cook for me, I was 100% willing to do it because I wanted that Chinese food again. I knew how good I felt when I was eating it. So it made total sense to me. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna do this for a month after I have a baby because I know my body's gonna heal so fast. Because I'd done the other side where, like you, after my first, I was back at church 5 days after I had him. I was, trying to be the superwoman because that's what I thought in my head what I was supposed to do. Is just, like, jump back to everything, and then 3 months after I had my first, I was in the emergency room with appendicitis and a kidney stone too large to pass. So it was like my body was like, "No, we're not doing this."
Yeah. I clearly remember that when you were, yeah, back in the hospital. Um, yeah, I love that you were able to have that experience where you could feel differently. Yeah, as you mentioned, I lived in Korea and kimchi is big there, super high in probiotics. Kimchi's finally getting the attention it deserves here in America, I feel like, But actually, yesterday I was reading and I found it fascinating that we have more neurons in our gut than we do in our spinal cord. So I think a lot of research is showing, I mean, I'm sure your community has heard that your gut is the second brain. Serotonin, which is like the feel calm, feel happy, GABA is feel calm. Um, those neurochemicals are actually formed in your gut. So it makes sense that, like you said, what we put in our body, what we fuel our body with, is going to impact our mental health. We can no longer separate physical and mental health. They are two things that impact each other. Um, so I love that. I love this mission that you're on. Um, you kind of mentioned a little bit like your vision for the Sitting Month, that all moms in North America will know what the Sitting Month is. What are some other visions that you have for the Sitting Month?
So, as I say, I want like, my vision is for all moms in North America to know what the Sitting Month is. I have that vision because not from, like, a business make money standpoint, but from a every woman should know how important it is to rest after they have a baby and to eat really specific foods and to drink specific teas. And if they have this information, they will be happier as a mom and more connected to themselves as a mom. And then that makes them a better mother and a better wife, a better partner. It's gonna impact their relationships with everyone else because when you love yourself and when you take care of yourself, it influences everyone around you, right? It's fun to be around someone that's feeling good about themselves. And when a mom, I'm speaking from personal experience, when she's not feeling good, when she's feeling angry or the rage that can come, it's not fun to be around them. And it impacts her kids, it impacts her husband, it impacts her marriage. So when I'm saying I have a vision that this will go spread throughout North America, it's because I wanna help families. Along with that is just helping women, connect with themselves, and that food can help turn on the energy in your body. So, specific foods in Chinese medicine turn on specific meridian lines throughout your body. So, you have lines of energy that flow through both sides of your body, up and down, through your hands, through your feet, and specific foods turn on those energy lines, which is so cool because you can shift the way that your body is reacting to your environment and to everything around you just by what you're putting inside of it. So I didn't create this information. It's been around for thousands and thousands of years. I didn't make it up. It's just something that has come to me and now I'm ready to share it. I want to share that information so women can be like, "Oh, I feel better when I eat this postpartum because this was studied for thousands of years to be a postpartum food." Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I love that. Um, I think that's so beautiful. You and I have talked a lot about like our vision and mission for families in the future, how foundational mothers are, and that motherhood, absolutely, it can be exhausting and draining at times, but it also, God gave it to us, and it's meant to be a joy. And we're unfortunately surrounded by a society, sitcom shows, reels, whatever, where they're just giving us the narrative that kids are inconvenient. They're really taking away from you being able to live your full dreams. Um, but we want to share the narrative that when a mother is balanced and feels balanced physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, that then in return impacts her husband and her children. And like you said, it really can set a tone, for someone's home and for their family. So um, all right, Emily, in closing, is there anything else like you want your community to know about the Sitting Month, to rally behind you, why this is important? What would be one last message you would want to share?
Just that I think each one of you in the community is important and that you all have your own life experiences and certain things will resonate with you and certain things won't. And as I'm as I'm building this community, I want to interact with each member of the community and have them share their life experience and what things have worked for them postpartum so that it's actually literally a community. It's not just me as a leader getting up and just saying, "Oh, do this, 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 and this," like, because maybe this, and this won't work as well for you, but maybe this and this will. Do you get what I'm saying? So I want
Yeah.
people to feel like, "Okay, I'm going in there, there's resources in there, and then I'm gonna pick and choose the resources that feel right to me at this time."
Mhm.
Because the point isn't to make us so, overwhelmed that we then trigger our nervous system again to go into fight or flight. We want to help calm the body down. We wanna help calm mothers down. So we want this to be a place where you can come, you can ask questions, you can get the resources that you need, and then feel like you're empowered as a mom. So that's, like, my final thought for the day.
Okay. I love that. That's a great message for us to end on. Yeah, this is a community of hope, of support, and empowerment. And so yeah, I love that, and I'm just grateful for what you're creating here, and how it's going to continue to help so many mothers, and then in return help so many families.
Thanks, Mandy. Thanks for asking me these questions today.
Oh, anytime. Thanks for
It's
having
good.
me.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Thanks.